Welcome to the Madness Explained YouTube channel, where we delve into the dark corners of true crime, cults, and significant historical events. I'm Claire, and alongside me is Owen. In each episode, we explore and dissect the complex narratives that challenge our perception of humanity or history. Today, we're examining how to catch a serial killer, unraveling the mystery behind the hunt, sifting through the layers of evidence, breaking down the facts, and uncovering what lies beneath. Join us as we navigate the depths of these serious matters and strive to illuminate the truth behind the madness.
Imagine this, a city gripped with fear, its residents looking over their shoulders, wondering if they're the next target. A string of gruesome murders with no apparent connection, no obvious motive, no suspect in sight. But someone, somewhere, is methodically hunting down a killer, trying to make sense of the senseless.
That's haunting. I can already feel the tension building just thinking about it. How do they even begin to make sense of such a chaotic situation?
Well, first it helps to understand what makes a serial killer tick. Typically, a serial killer has committed at least 3 murders over a period of time, with what's called a cooling-off period between them. Their crimes often follow a specific pattern, whether it's the victims they choose or how they carry out the murders.
That's interesting because I always thought it was just about the body count. But it seems there's more to it, like an emotional or psychological drive behind these killings.
Exactly. This is where criminal profiling comes in. Profilers create a psychological and behavioral picture of the killer based on patterns in their crimes. This method was pioneered by the FBI's Behavioral Science Unit back in the 1970s.
Profiling seems like a mix of detective work and psychology, so how does it work in practice?
Well, profilers look at patterns like the killer's choice of victims, the method of killing, and even how the crime scenes are handled. Take Ted Bundy, for example. He was an organized killer, meticulous and careful with his crimes. He would lure victims by pretending to be injured, then abduct them, assault them, and murder them, all while leaving very few clues behind.
Bundy is such a terrifying example. He had such a calculated way of drawing people in. It's chilling to think he was able to fool so many people for so long. How did they eventually catch him?
It was a combination of profiling, witness reports, and forensic evidence. Things like bite marks and hair samples that connected him to multiple murders across state lines. Profiling helped authorities understand Bundy's patterns, and public awareness really played a part too. After his capture in 1978, Bundy's case became a turning point for law enforcement.
That's the thing I always find so fascinating, how law enforcement evolves over time. And speaking of evolution, DNA evidence has really changed the game, right?
Absolutely. DNA analysis has revolutionized how investigators approach serial killer cases. For example, with the Golden State Killer case, Joseph DeAngelo was not identified for decades, despite his string of crimes in the 70s and 80s. But in 2018, investigators uploaded DNA from his crime scenes to public genealogical databases, and it led them straight to him.
That's incredible. It's like something out of a detective novel. The fact that they could track down someone who had been on the loose for so long using something like a family member's DNA is mind-blowing.
Right? And in cases like these, understanding the behavioral patterns of the killer is just as critical as the physical evidence. Investigators categorize killers into 2 types, organized and disorganized.
So, organized killers are the planners, the ones who leave few clues. And disorganized killers are more chaotic and leave behind a mess, right?
Exactly. Organized killers like John Wayne Gacy are methodical. Gacy lured young men to his home, then tortured, raped, and murdered them, hiding the bodies under his house. He blended into society well, which made it harder for authorities to link the crimes.
Gacy is a chilling example of someone who played the part of a normal, respectable person while committing these horrendous crimes. It's almost as if he were living a double life.
Exactly. In contrast, disorganized killers like Richard Chase are more impulsive. Chase, for instance, committed gruesome murders in California during the 1970s, leaving bloody crime scenes behind. His erratic behavior and clear signs of mental illness ultimately made him easier to catch.
It's almost like the killers who act without thinking are easier to catch in a way. Though, of course, the nature of their crimes is just as horrifying. How does technology come into play with all of this?
Technology is a game changer. Databases like VICAP, the Violent Criminal Apprehension Program, help investigators track serial crimes across state lines. Geographic profiling uses statistical data to predict where a killer might live or work, based on the locations of their crimes.
Wow, so they can use tech to predict where a killer might strike next? That's pretty high tech. But I'm guessing not every case is this clear-cut.
Unfortunately, no. Serial killers are unpredictable, and sometimes the media frenzy around a case, like with the Zodiac killer, can complicate investigations. Public pressure can sometimes distort the focus of an investigation.
That must be incredibly frustrating for investigators. Not only do they have to deal with the chaos of the crimes, but the whole world is watching. But with all of these methods combined, it seems like we're getting closer to solving these cases.
Exactly. Catching a serial killer isn't easy, but each breakthrough, whether it's profiling or new forensic methods, brings us closer to understanding how to stop them. It's a race against time, and as technology continues to advance, law enforcement has a better chance of preventing future murders.
It's terrifying to think about, but it's also reassuring to know there are ways to track these criminals down. That sense of justice, no matter how long it takes, is powerful. Thanks for joining us on the Madness Explained YouTube channel. We hope today's episode has given you a deeper understanding of the methods used to catch serial killers. Please remember to subscribe and click the notification bell to stay updated on our latest discussions. If you have thoughts about the episode, drop them in the comments below. Until our next episode, stay informed and take care.